transformation of food system as a way to address current and future challenges. And also very important, beyond technologies, there is a critical need to value traditional knowledge and locally adapted varieties and breeds, sharing of experience and supporting farmers to farmers network. Lastly, also there is a strong need to invest more in building the capacities of family farmers and their organization. So I will stop here since this is already quite a lot of key message, and we would like to now open the floor in case any of you has some comments or additional input or key takeaway message you would like to share with the others that may have missed. So now it's over to you. Any question, comment, input? Also from my colleague from AFA, SARC Agricultural Center.
Hi, Pierre, I'm Amir. So far, Pierre, everyone are waiting for they are giving comments and the recommendation into the breakout room. So that will be the good. No, if there is no comments and suggestion here, but we hope that we will get the comments and recommendation in the breakout group also.
Okay. Then if there is no specific comment at this stage, what I suggested now, we are going to move to the session 4 and the breakout group discussion. So this session will aim to identify regional action areas and partnership. You will be divided into 3 groups facilitated by colleagues from AFA and the SARC Agricultural Center. The group have been organized based on the number of participants from each country to have a similar size. So the group 1 will focus mostly on Bangladesh, and this will be facilitated by Amir from AFA. Group 2 will focus on Nepal, Bhutan, and Pakistan, and will be facilitated by Dr. Ganga from the SARC Agricultural Center and myself. And group 3 will focus on India, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. And this will be facilitated by Mohit Dave from International Cooperative Alliance Asia Pacific and Arish Bagila from AFA. So most of you may have been already pre-assigned to a specific group, but if you are not assigned, we strongly encourage you to join the group you wish to contribute. And before we split all of you into the different group, I would like to share briefly the different questions that we have prepared, and we would like you to reflect upon. So we will allocate 45 minutes for the different for this group session. The first question is following the presentation of day 1 about member state and other stakeholder commitment for transitioning toward more sustainable and healthier food system. According to you, what are the main common areas of interest and challenges at regional level? The second question is, the first question is really about the current situation and to see what are possible shared interests between the different countries. The second question is, what are the main action and initiatives needed at regional level to support the implementation of the different commitments? So this is what could we be doing all together at regional level. And the third question is about who. So who should be the stakeholders to engage, to put into action the member state commitment at regional level? So here we expect you to really identify beyond government agencies who would really need to be involved. So I will let my colleagues from AFA to proceed with the breakout session. So I don't know how.
Yes, thank you, Pierre, and thank you for sharing the key messages that will help us further discuss what we can do, building on the presentations yesterday, and also the inspiring experiences that we have seen. So, what are the regional initiatives? Or other mechanisms that can be done to move these forward. So I have assigned a number of participants into their respective room. So room 1 would be for our participants from Bangladesh, and room 2 will be assigned to our participants from India, Sri Lanka, and Maldives, and room 3 would be for Bhutan, Nepal, and Pakistan. So thank you for those who remained themselves. So for Bangladesh, currently there are 9 people assigned to that room, and this will be facilitated by Amir and another colleague from SAC. And then room 2, there are currently 7 people assigned. And room 3, there are currently 7 people assigned. Before I open the breakout room, I want to ask a few people. There are a few people that are not currently assigned. So Mr. Abdul Salam Mohammed Roshan, what room should I assign you to?
Mr. Roshan, I think he's from Sri Lanka.
Okay, Sri Lanka. And Mr. Ali Amir, which
Maldives.
room? Okay, Maldives.
Maldives.
Room 2. And Mr. Salim, that's Bangladesh, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Bangladesh. And Dr. Alam, Dr. Mahfouz Alam.
Might be also
Dr. Mahfouz
Bangladesh.
for Bangladesh.
Okay, and Mr. Jacob Jose, any which room do you want to join? Mr. Kajol Bajracharya, which
Nepal. Nepal.
Nepal. Nepal. Kamala Krishnaswamy.
India.
Thank you. And Miao Yu from ESCAP. Sisam, which room do you want to join?
Nepal, please.
Nepal. Okay, just few more people. Bear with us. Miss Nirmal Das of Wave. Okay, Bangladesh. Sorry. Okay. And Ryan from Voice.
Bangladesh.
Okay, Bangladesh. Okay, I will now open the Zoom room. So those who are just few more people, I will be asking you in just after assigning the others. I mean, sorry, Mylene, which room do you want to join? Do you want to join any specific room? And sorry, Ali Amir, which room should I assign you to?
I thought you were assigning me to room 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, I thought I did, but I'm not sure. Okay, Vinita Kumari. Vinita Kumari.
Can anybody hear me?
Welcome back to the plenary. So let's just wait for the others to leave their room. Okay, so I can see others joining in.
We did not finish.
Sorry, so
you pull us
sorry.
out.
we forcefully they enter in the room.
No, but it was very rich.
Yeah. It's the same for our room. There's a lot of information, I think, that we can still hear, but feel free to do it in chat. Yeah. And the others can share later. We have an open.
Okay.
We have an open.
It's already
floor.
already over.
And agricultural innovation systems.
Okay.
Only one suggestion for me. Multi-stakeholder platform establishment. That is only one suggestion for me.
Yeah, that's very important. I forgot that really.
No one is taking that one. Whenever I tell, they wrote other things. Commodity-based multi-stakeholder platform.
Okay, so the Bangladesh group, please take note. Whoever is taking note, please include that.
Can you
the
make
others can...
Dr. Srikant as a co-host so that he can flash his the presentation?
Yes, anyone can share his or her screen. So the others, feel free to share your ideas in chat so we can capture them. And then later, I think after the presentation of each group, we can have an open floor.
Yeah.
So Pierre, over to you.
Yes, I'm just trying to capture the latest ideas that we had in our group. Okay. So we are all here, I guess. Now we are okay. So the idea now is for each group to present briefly the different elements that were discussed in the group. Based on what I heard from you, Irish and Amir, I mean, each group had a very lively and intense discussion. In our case, I try to put everything in few slides. So I will kindly ask Miss Sabnam, I think from Nepal, to present. So I will share my screen and you can present. Share screen.
Or Shabnam can also share her screen.
Okay.
I
did the note taking, so I'm the only one to have. Okay, it's a lot. Sorry. Over to you.
Shall I begin?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Once again. The discussion we have made, I'll quickly run through it, and if needed, we and then the group members can address the further questions if needed. The group identified, from the yesterday's discussion that smallholders, resilient farmers are the most important stakeholders, and then because the resilience of during the COVID crisis showed that they are resilient in the short run, their capacity needs to be strengthened in the long run. That was put, and then similarly, the second challenges was that the sustainable agriculture practices that they have been adopting, they need to be further promoted and disseminated. So this could be in various forms of the sustainable practices, be it organic agriculture or climate smart agriculture or the agroecology that we heard about a lot yesterday. And also stronger support to the agriculture cooperatives is needed. Similarly, strengthening the competitiveness and marketing and value chain approach for the family farms here. When we talk family farms, they are the smallholders we're talking about. So their competitiveness and integrating them into the value chain is also equally important. Similarly, another issue was with the digital marketing, because during COVID time, we realized that the digital connectivity really helped connect the farmers to the market. So,
hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. To develop and further support them in the digital marketing to access.
Dr. Shabnam, go ahead. You are muted.
I was muted. No, I was muted by maybe the host. Okay. Similarly, another issue that strongly came up is with the access to the production resources, including land, quality seeds, breeding inputs, and also access to the technologies such as precision agriculture, especially for the landless, poor, and women and youth for the sustainable food system. Another issue was with the control over those resources, not only the access and ownership, but also to the control over the resources, especially land, forest, water, among others. And also better control over the land uses, because the practices that we have seen is that fertile lands are being converted into housing and for other purposes. So enforcement of land use plan, act, policy is very important for the protection. So agricultural land should be protected was the main concern. And then also COVID experience showed that we need to invest in the infrastructure like post-harvest infrastructure such as cold rooms or food godowns or similar infrastructure, so that even if the farmers are not able to sell to the market, these infrastructures can be utilized. Another area came up with the retaining the youth in agriculture, youth and even the others in agriculture in general, because many of the lands are being left fallow, and we realize that we need to have the agriculture competitive so that youth and other can be retained. So enabling policy should be there, and also inclusion of agriculture in curriculum, education curriculum was highlighted, and they should target to the rural areas so that when they are well equipped, they can contribute to the in the production system. Similarly, another area came with was the sustainable practices. We must make food as the right and not just a commodity. So that was emphasized in terms of right to food, and also strengthen the capacity of the local governments to better protect and enforce the policies that are related with the sustainable food production. So these were the main areas of interest and challenges that was brought by the group. Maybe you can go to the next slide, Pierre. Okay, so in the question on what are the main actions and initiatives needed at the regional level, we have identified a couple of points there. So garnering funding for support, to transition for the transitioning or strengthening the capacity of the countries to access various funds, because there are various global funds that help support organic agriculture, sustainable agriculture, climate smart agriculture. So we need to, the regional initiative can maybe help enhance the capacity of the countries to access those funds. SAARC Agriculture Center, for example, the Secretariat can bring all the countries together to follow up on the implementation of this commitment, and also for experience sharing. Similarly, the SAARC food bank provision is there, but since this is not really functioning and it's not enough, so maybe we need to enhance this food bank, because to address the potential looming food crisis, because we realize this during pandemic, when some countries have their own policies to restrict the export of food commodities, then the other country definitely suffers, and we are seeing that in case of Ukraine crisis now also. So this has to be more, it has to be enhanced. And another area is access to finance, technology, and knowledge packages, training to the farmers and also to the other government officials, CSOs is also required. Coalition of agriculture institutes. So we meant here is both the other institutes, educational institutes, research institutes, and probably other institutes as well. And making agriculture curriculum mandatory at all level of education, so that farmers are more informed of the technology, and then also understand the importance of agriculture. So this was also emphasized. And developing sustainable agriculture fund, which is accessible to farmers at very low interest level. So probably this, if there is kind of support in the establishment of this kind of fund, would be instrumental in the regional collaboration. Encouraging family farming and promoting organic agriculture. Similarly, experience and knowledge sharing among the staffs and farmers in the regions. They came out strong. And then we need to have the sustainable food policy for SAARC regions. That is also required. And it was also emphasized that because of the political situation across the region, sometimes it's very difficult to bring in the experts and the officials to share experiences and technical resources and funding between the countries. So in this case, role of intergovernmental agencies such as SAARC or IFAD, FAO, they can help to facilitate these exchanges rather than operating this through the government system. So this was highlighted. And also we need to have some buyback mechanism and minimum price support schemes for the selected crops and livestock products. Although this has been come up here as the regional level support, but I think this is more of the in-house domestic policy measures. Similarly, we need to connect a small farmer. The regional network can connect the small farmers with the regional markets and help enhance the capacity of the small farmers. Also, the scholarship to be provided to the farmer family for further study, because we have some this study scholarship provided to the other students, but particularly focusing on the farmer's family was also emphasized. And then joint monitoring of public policies with the FFOs. So this is farmer organization, sorry. So joint monitoring of these public policies to better adjust them to the current and future challenges. Maybe regional initiative can help to have those joint monitoring of the policies, and also regional collaboration for sharing the germplasm, be it the breed or planting material, is very important, because when we want to help the smallholder farmers, we also need to bring in the technology and also the good seed and breed to their farm. So in that case, when we can have the regional cooperation of exchanging those germplasm, we need to make it more easier and simpler. The process need to be, and also need to encourage more countries to join agroecology coalition, because that was also emphasized, because agroecology in a way sum ups many of the sustainable practices that we have been discussing about. So maybe this need to have develop a regional coalition and to have the regional actions so we can upscale this agroecology practices, and also to strengthen the media coverage and SARC in the region, so that those what we have been doing can be more highlighted, and then it can be shared among the member countries. And need to support regional network of the family farmer organizations. Although there are some organizations, the family farmers organizations are maybe in between two countries, or they exist, but maybe we need to have a regional network of these organizations. Next slide, please. So who should be the major stakeholders to put it actually into the member countries? So in this case, family farmers organization, cooperatives, definitely they are one of the prime stakeholders. And in case of government agencies, this could be Ministry of Agriculture, this could be National Planning Commissions, or similar structure in the other countries, because we need to not only have the regional cooperation as a government agency, but they also need to coordinate within their countries. So they should also be the focal, agencies there. And then funding agencies equally important. Similarly, inter-government agencies like ISHIMOD, SARC, or FAO, they are also equally important. And then experience sharing mechanism between the local government involved in supporting the food system transformation. Although when we talk about the regional stakeholders, the local government may not appear here as the direct stakeholder, but then they are very important stakeholders, and they need to be connected and then during the sharing mechanism. So these are where the major highlights that we could manage to discuss within the given time frame. So thank you. If further questions, then we'll definitely we'll try to respond.
Thank you very much. That was very comprehensive. From our group, is anyone want to add anything, or this was complete and we can move to group 2?
Yeah, we have our presentation ready from group 1 from Bangladesh.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Please give me a second, please.
You can share your screen, Dr. Srikant.
Yeah. I think there is some issue. Maybe we can go ahead with the other group so that I can make it ready. Please go ahead with the other group, please.
Okay, the
technical difficulties now we are facing. So can you request the next group peer so that we will be the last.
Irish was about to start. Irish, yeah, over to you.
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen for the India, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan, and it will be Greens and George from SAR2.
Thank you, Irish and Mohit. They were inspiring the participants to speak. So it was a very lively discussion, and we had Maldives also as part of our team. In addition to India, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan, Maldives was also a member. So there were lively discussions because apart from the geographic representation, we had representation from the academia, research, farmers, stakeholders, NGOs. The group was so diverse. So it was very lively discussion. And for the first question on what is the issues we are facing with respect to having a transition towards more sustainable and healthier food systems, some of the areas of interests and challenges were enlisted. The major challenges what we could identify was regarding the post-harvest loss or food loss, what happens along the supply chains. And there are a lot of constraints with respect to the natural resources and the issues related to the water budgeting. Presently in the South Asia, we have rice and wheat as a staple food, and because of that, our eating habits are more carbohydrate rich. So the diet is very narrow. And probably because of this, the water budgeting is not happening. We are not having the proper climate resilient crops or climate resilient food commodities available in the market as well as in the production system. So we have to have climate sensitive, resilient crops which can support the food systems. From the carbohydrate rich system, we should have a diversification to the protein plus carbohydrate plus all additional nutritional requirement rich food commodities in the system. So that was one good suggestion which came. It can be like horticultural products, it can be like livestock products, it can be poultry products, it can be fishery products. So from carbohydrate rich, we have to have a transition towards this. Then to make it sustainable and for the consumption pattern to go into the system, we have to have some sort of mechanism by which we can do it. So addressing all the issues, the social issues like gender and related aspects like the family nutrition, family farming, all these concepts which are put forth by the international organization, we can go for it. The next important challenge what we discussed was with respect to the technologies available. There are issues with the value chain I told. So there can be simple solutions for the food losses. There are technologies available. It's a matter of imbibing those technologies and improving the value chains so as to make the perishable foods less perishable or available for a massive scale. And using the proper mechanisms, we can harvest the renewable energy which is available in plenty in our region so that value addition can happen in such a way. And there is a lot of need regarding infrastructure. For example, for the commodities, if they require cold chain, from the harvest itself, the cold chain should start and it should reach the end consumer. We have infrastructural issues, but these sort of transportation logistics problems which are attached to cold chain and related issues, it has to be addressed. For that, a lot of investment is required in the region. Then, as I said, the climate resilient technologies for the crops which can go for the diversification of the food consumption pattern. And now with respect to the consumption and diversification, we always have this rice wheat rich diet, and there has to be a change in the habits. Most of our traditional foods, they are rich, but we don't have that diversification now. When we talk of food security, we always forget the nutritional security. So we can have some combinations like rice, fish curry, or rice, other proteins, legumes, pulses, vegetables, salads. All these things can form part of the diversification process. And there can be a large support from the dairy sector also, which is very much essential for the South Asian region. Now coming to the marketing challenges which have been addressed, we should have inclusive value chain models which are climate sensitive as well as nutritional sensitive. So this can be one important thing which can be looked upon. And what are the main actions which have to happen in the area? Like there were some ideas because people thought if diversification is possible, as people, there are Bengalis, there are people who are all along the East Coast or West Coast, they are interested in fish. So there was some interest in having a focal agency for fisheries in the respective countries. Then there should be support on market control. There should be a bottom-up approach, especially for farmer-producer organization. For the knowledge of other participants, we have described like how a farmer-producer organization can function in a country. And one important idea which was put forth is on the incentives which can be provided for boosting up the nutritional quality of the midday school meals. For example, if there is a resource available for farming activity, there can be a support for that farming activity, and the commodities which are coming from that farming activity, whether it be egg or fish or milk, it can be channelized to the schools for improving the nutritional schemes. So the midday schemes can be improved. Now there is budget allocation, but it is not really meeting the nutritional requirement. Some ideas like urban horticulture, like if there is land constraints, we can even go for vertical farming systems which are available now, and go for improved varieties. And there should be a platform for sharing these improved varieties. And all these ideas can work very well if we have a synergic effect of the different resources available in the form of integrated farming, which can improve the nutrition locally. And there was a need for harmonizing the good agricultural practices locally in the region. And definitely SAARC Agriculture Center is also taking some important initiatives in this area. And then it comes like, if we have these issues and if we have these solutions, who are the stakeholders who can really bridge this gap? And definitely many of the participants vouch that it should be SAARC Agriculture Center who should be spearheading some of the discussions. And there are a lot of international organizations who are having their own interest in improving the nutrition as well as the agricultural production in this area. For example, the CG systems, then like IFAD, then in UN organizations like FAO, AFA, all different stakeholder targeted international organizations are there which have specific interest in the Asian region. We can go ahead with such organizations, but there is definitely a research gap identified for the region. So the research and academia should come together apart from the CG institutes locally to address some of these challenges. There can be food technology related institutions. There are national agricultural research system. For example, Bangladesh Agriculture Research Council in the case of Bangladesh, Indian Council of Agriculture Research in the case of India, such research institutions plus university system where such activities are happening. They should really refine the technologies or pump in new innovations or mechanisms so that we can bridge the gap in an ideal way. Then this can be disseminated through the Ministry of Agriculture or respective Department of Agriculture, or even the Ministry of Fisheries or Ministry of Animal Husbandry in the respective places, so that there can be a proper result. And in the region, the people identified that Central Food Technology Research Institute, which is a CSIR lab in Bangalore, Mysore. So they can, this institute can pave way for giving good technologies which is existing for the South Asian region, and we can imbibe on those technology, refine on the existing system, and can bring sustainability in the food systems with respect to nutrition and related challenges. So that was the discussion what we had in the group. And with respect to the doubts the group members had, we had very strong discussions and very supportive inputs coming from all the people. Thanks for the coordinators, Mohit and Irish, for coordinating the session. Thanks for the opportunity for given me for presenting this. Thank you. Thank you one and all.
So can I go ahead with the last group?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Hello. Can you see my presentation? Is that okay?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
fine,
Yes.
fine. Fine. Thank you very much. And this is our last group. We are around 11 participants from Bangladesh. This is termed as Group 1. The first question is, what are the main common areas of interest and challenges? Our group has unanimously told that we need to bring behavioral changes in South Asian population and address the requirements of diversified foods for better nutrition and health, which is very pertinent in this region, because diversified food habits are critical for improved nutrition. Because of the staple foods, dominance of staple foods, we are finding difficult, especially both government and non-government sector, to identify what are the other foods that people can access. The second one is the provision of safe and nutritious food that is needed, and it has to be addressed at the policy level. So this is very important, safe and nutritious food, because especially in terms of vegetable consumption, people are finding difficult to find the pesticide-free vegetables in the market. So it is very important at the policy level to take up decisions how to provide the safe and nutritious food. And this is one of the major challenges in the South Asian region. The third one is early warning system to be introduced, especially as a precautionary measure of the invasive pests and diseases across borders, because like the locusts and other, fall armyworm, there are pests that are, even moving from one country to another country. So, and we need to also address through the early warning system where we can take precautionary measures to save the crops. Then promote a climate smart and resilient agriculture in South Asia, which is very vital, and everywhere we can hear about the climate smart and climate resilient agriculture. So this has to be focused, and this is a major area of interest at the moment. But however, the major challenge that we have is weak network among the value chain actors in the region, which has to be strengthened, especially to improve the trade between the countries in South Asia. A good network can always help to have increased incomes both to the farmers and as well as to the traders. Now reduce the post-harvest losses and also improve the processing and packaging facilities. Engage farmer producer organizations, youth, and to improve the employment scenario in agriculture sector. This is very important and vital. We have also highlighted the FPOs in the stakeholders also. So lack of communication, transportation, processing technologies at the farmers level, especially in the rural areas, this has to be addressed. And good agriculture practices, the gap, need to be implemented even at the farmers level. So the government has to take initiatives, the respective governments, in order to find ways where we can implement these gap at appropriate time and appropriate levels. The smallholder farmers and family farming need to be focused in the region. And the main important thing is, which we also thought, that lack of investment in research and extension by the governments in the region. So if the investments would increase both in research and extension, I think definitely we can address some of the major challenges that we have in the region. The second question is, what are the main actions and initiatives are needed at the regional level? The first important thing that we have identified was the communication and capacity building measures need to be taken for the improved technologies to be disseminated in the rural areas by the institutions, and also to bridge the gap between the farmers and the technologies that are coming up day by day. The cold storage facilities also need to be expanded in the rural areas because the post-harvest losses are huge in South Asia. So cold storage facilities would help farmers to store their produce and also release them at various times. And the other thing is, the small and medium income farmers need to be empowered in the region. Diversified food systems need to be addressed and considered at the policy level, to be considered to be taken at the policy level also. Then implement mechanisms to introduce crop insurance and crop credit facilities. Strengthen partnerships, easy access to financial institutions by the farmers, then contract farming and backward and forward linkages so that we can try to improve upon. And then the rural markets should be strengthened, because the urban markets are flourishing day by day, but also the rural markets and the local markets need to be strengthened in various countries. Then expand ICT at all levels. Then agriculture innovation systems need to be brought across the countries in South Asia. The third important question that we had was who should be the stakeholders? I think all the value chain actors involved from production to consumption need to be engaged at appropriate times, and they should be addressed and they should be given importance so that we will have better economies in the countries. Both government and non-government agencies shall address these problems that we addressed in the earlier 2 points so that appropriate actions will be taken. And then engage national planning commissions, and at the policy level also we need to bring out the required decision-making process at the planning level so that they could be implemented in the future. Then the farmer producers organization have to be expanded. This is very important. And the commodity-based multi-stakeholder platforms need to be developed and created. So with this, I over to you, to the chairman of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, I'm really impressed by the all the input from the different group. I mean, it was very rich, and by the sound of it, I mean, you had a very lively discussion in each group. If it's possible to share also your presentation in the chat box, so that we can consolidate the three presentation. And now I think what is plan is potentially, I don't know if we can open the floor for additional inputs for participants who may have participated to a group, but by listening findings from another group, have additional ideas that we would like to share. So we have 10-15 minutes for this. And if there is no question, then we can also just have a break. So the floor is open in case.
Oh, thank you, Pierre. May I have chance to speak something?
Yes.
All the presentation is very nice. Many of the issues has been covered, but I think we should have some focus on the use of water efficiency. That issue need to be highlighted. Land and water pollution that should be considered. In Shabnam's presentation, I think some issues need to be addressed. That is climate issues. That is very important for the South Asian, particularly for Bangladesh. You know that it's a climate-prone country. Every year we lost a lot of food due to the climate issues. So the technology, now we have to improve technology, modern technology, agroecological practices. That is, we need to introduce nanotechnology into our agriculture sector. Use of chemical fertilizer and pesticide, insecticide use, the justified use of these chemicals is very important. Then value chain. I would say the farmers really struggling with the value chain, that is communication with the urban market, because in the farm level they don't get fair price, so they always become discouraged with their products. And in sometimes in the peak season in Bangladesh, many of the crop producers, particularly for potato and tomato producers, they filled their products into the roadside, so they cannot get the fair price. That is the problem. So need to be addressed. So transportation and the processing in the farmers level, so that farmers should have some processing technology and processing scope, so that they can market their product in urban areas. And infrastructure in the rural market and rural group center development also very important. These are the issues need to be incorporated in the discussion. Thank you very much, Pierre.
Thank you. It was yes. Dr. Hossain, you want to add something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Actually, all the group presentation are excellent and covered most of the points. I'm especially like to mention one point what our Srikanth presented in his point regarding early warning systems. Actually, he has narrowed down the giving the priority on invasion of insect pest only. This is also early warning system is also for important flood, storm, and cyclone. Also be the partner of this point. And you know, some of the part that is upper part of the country and the lower part of the country, there may be 2 to 3 days difference for the in case of flood, and also in case of storm and cyclone, there should be early warning systems, which would be helpful for this. This point need to be actually broadened. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Pierre, I have a question, not a question, it's a clarification. Yesterday, in the first presentation, Dr. Ava Misra, she presented one food system. So, but due to time limit, she didn't explain that one. Is it possible to like explain or share that one?
I can. I mean, we will share all the presentation for sure. But I will just. Yeah, Abha Mishra. I will just look up. So this is what was shared yesterday, I guess.
Yes, that one. But it was not clear to understand. So.
Unfortunately, Dr. Abha Mishra is not here today, so she won't be able to explain it further. My understanding from presentation yesterday is that it's really important to have this holistic approach, and I think this is what she wanted to represent on a graph with all the different components and how they come together.
Okay, then thank you.
So because you see, we need to analyze system actor, system characteristic, and system behavior. So, but we will, yeah, it's very holistic. But we will share all the presentation after the meeting.
Okay, then thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question or comment, either regarding the group discussion, but also if you have questions from yesterday?
Okay, sir. Shall I talk just one or two sentences?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know I missed or not. Here, maybe we need to address the regional agricultural commodities trade. Trading of agricultural commodities, and we need a...
Oh, you are muted. Sorry.
So for agricultural trade, we need a harmonized policy for South Asian countries. And also, I don't know, we missed that natural farming or organic farming. This is also a very crucial issue for South Asia. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
sorry,
group one just posted on in the chat box.
Okay. Thank you. Just one quick clarification. The second point, am I correct to understand that you want to promote natural farming? Huh? This is what you were saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I see that Esther, you have something to say as well.
Yes, good afternoon. In the presentation from the first group, I think that was Nepal group, you said something about sustainable food policy in SAARC. Now, what do you exactly mean by this?
I will ask who, I think this came from Bhutan.
From the first one.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember who.
I think it came from Bhutan.
For sustainable food policy.
Lundum.
Do you remember?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I shared that point. So what I meant was, you see, from the current situation, we have learned, example, the war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia. You see, when countries fight, the citizens are at a loss, actually. It's the citizens who actually lose out, the common people. And then we have heard a lot that actually the common citizens in Russia, because of the sanctions, you see, many sanctions, common people are actually suffering from food shortages, not just in Russia, but even in Ukraine as well. So in such a situation, this situation can happen in SAARC region as well. We can never say that. There could be other climate-related situations as well. So for that, during these times, I think people should not be denied the access to food, because food is for survival. And I also mentioned somewhere that food now should not be considered as a commodity. Rather, it should be a right to every people. Now, people should have right to food like we have right to our life. So this kind of a policy it should be, this is a far-sighted policy we should have in the SAARC region so that peoples are protected from hunger, from starvation at times of emergencies. Thank you.
Maybe this is quite in line also with what the action track 6 that has been put forward by Nepal during the UN Food System Summit, if I remember, which was on how it was mentioned. It is on right to food and food sovereignty.
Yeah, yeah.
This is, I see that Mr. George Grinson,
yes,
you have something.
I was trying to supplement what our friend from Bhutan was saying. Now, right to food is considered as a priority in different forums and different meetings. So we should also have some guidelines for the countries how to adopt them in the right way. So that can be debated or deliberated upon, and we should have a meeting on how to frame policies supporting right to food. That's all. Thank you.
Very good suggestion. Thank you. Any further comment or suggestion?
Pierre?
Yes.
There have been some suggestions about, for example, like agriculture research institutions in South Asia come together like that. So I would like to know if there is nothing like that as of the moment, or is it something that or there are some groups already that we just need to like energize?
Well, there was a call in our group. It was mentioned that it would be good to have a coalition of regional agriculture center or agriculture institute. So it was not mentioned that it exists already, but there is a will to really further network all the different institutes.
In the SAARC platform, we do have a university, but it's not concerned with agriculture per se. But all the NARS institutes are linked in one way, like we have the Summit of Agriculture Ministers meeting happening. So that way, we have a mechanism in which there is a possible way of communicating to each other. The SAARC platform provides that liberty to do it. So, but it will be a great idea if we can have an agriculture research institute to spearhead the entire South Asian problems, then that will be a great idea.
But the recommendation, I mean, the suggestion from Esther also to energize this network would be quite good, and then we could maybe rely on the SAARC platform to encourage all the National Agriculture Center to come together. Okay. Any other comments or inputs, or shall we take a well-deserved break for the last part of? Because we have a 20-minute break now, and then after we'll come back to you with a draft joint communique and also try to exchange on this, and then the closing session. That okay? I will take this as a yes. So
It's not 2 p.m. here. It's 12 p.m. Yeah, 12:50 p.m.
Yes, 12:50 p.m.
Okay. Okay, so see you in 20 minutes. Have a good coffee, tea, or anything else.
So it's now 12:50 p.m. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are currently in front of your computers or mobile phones, and I hope you had a good health break or coffee break. So now I think we are ready to resume for the next session. So our next session will be on the presentation or adoption of the joint communique for a regional action plan or regional action for sustainable and healthy food systems in the context of COVID-19. Sorry, it's not an action plan, but maybe more of a guiding framework, or it could be a roadmap for the further work that needs to be done. And this document will guide us all, especially the regional actors, to support the national pathways and the initiatives that were shared yesterday. So for this session, it's the joint communique is still in its first draft. So we will be sharing that with you, and then we would of course we would need the input of everyone. And then after this, we will be finalizing. So your response after the presentation of the joint communique would be very important and vital in strengthening the draft document. So to present the draft communique, I would like to call on Ms. Esther Penunia from AFA to share the first draft.
Thank you, Irish, and good afternoon to everyone. I think it's all afternoon already in all time zones of Asia. Can you see my screen? Should
yes.
I need to enlarge the font, or is it okay?
Yes, it's readable.
It's readable. I can maybe, okay. So this is the first draft of the joint communique that the team of organizers have put into. A large part of the draft is in the concept note. So, but it will be, and then, so a large part of the draft is in the concept note. And then we highlighted the recommended action points at the regional level, because these are the things that as a group, all 7 member states here and the regional farmers organization, research institutions, and private sector, we could come together to help push this or help operationalize these action points. So what I plan is to present some of this very quickly, because the process will be, we will discuss this and we will get your inputs. And basically we want, we will be happy if we could have some sort of an approval in terms of the key messages here, no? And then we will still, after this meeting, we will still revise and refine based on the comments that we receive, and maybe still try to shorten it, because right now it's very long, and some of the recommended action points like here are bullet points, and so needed to have like some sentences that describe these bullet points. So once we have refined this, we will be circulating it to you all for your final approval. And once we approve them, we will then ask the SAC to then get the endorsement of the SAARC for this. Okay, so now we would like to share this joint communique with you for your comments and maybe initial yes, no, to the contents, especially to the contents of this document. Okay, so these ones are in the concept note. So what is the status globally? Around 30% of the population suffer from multiple micronutrient deficiencies. It's globally, what is the situation and what is the situation in South Asia, both in terms of the micronutrient deficiencies. And then what is the potential and what are the problems in South Asia with regards to agriculture and food system, highlighting that in South Asia, there is pervasive poverty and hunger in the rural areas, especially women and men who rely on agriculture for a living. And then the health issue is being undermined due to lack of available, safe, nutritious, and healthy food. And again, highlighting also the connection between food insecurity and food loss and waste. And also connecting it to the contribution of the food system to greenhouse gas emissions that lead us to climate change and biodiversity loss. And then the paragraph about COVID-19 and how it has further exposed the dangerous deficiencies in the food system, threatening the lives and livelihoods of millions of people around the world. And against this backdrop of the global and the South Asia level, then we have co-organized this event. No? And the title of the event and how many attended and from how many countries. We missed here Maldives. So we have to put here Maldives, okay? Or it should be here. It's letter M. 7 member states as well as from CSOs and farmers organizations and private sector and research institutions. Okay, so this is the composition of our work today. And then we put the aims of the consultation. And then, so these are all in the concept note that you have received way ahead, no, before this meeting. So this is the one that was, okay. I see. So this is the one that Dr. Gangha was saying there is a repeat of the paragraph, so we will just use this. But in this paragraph, we said that the participants gained information and insights from 18 presentations. Pierre said we had 18 presentations yesterday, where member states and other key stakeholders described their commitments to sustainable food systems that they declared during the Food System Summit, as well as from presentations of successful experiences that promoted sustainable food systems on upscaling agroecology in Andhra Pradesh, India, floating farms in Bangladesh, engagement of women in nutrition-sensitive aquatic food systems in South Asia, and non-commercial farming to cope with COVID-19 in Nepal. So as a result of the insights, learnings, and discussion shared during the two-day event, we are convinced that the current food systems need to be transformed and provide a more sustainable, fair, and inclusive access to healthy and nutritious food for people. It is also necessary to keep balance between food systems and the natural environment by transforming them to work better with nature and for the climate. Better food systems are critical to build a future with improved health, equality, and peace that create a world with rich biodiversity and ecosystems and people who are resilient and empowered. This paragraph is also in the concept note. And then this next paragraph is what Pierre said in his recap for this morning. So to do this, there must be a critical shift from food security to food systems thinking that is thinking about food, people, and the planet, and requires multi-stakeholders and multi-level approaches. In this food systems thinking, there is a recognition of the critical role of non-state actors, such as family farming organizations, research institutions, and private sector, including cooperatives, to enable the implementation of commitments to sustainable food systems. We will need to focus on food diversity, market development for non-staples, small farm. These ones we got already from the group discussions. We will need to focus on food diversity, market development for non-staples, small farm commercialization and diversification, climate resilience. At the country level, we will need to provide a wide range of support services to farmers, from production to marketing, especially strengthen our rural and domestic markets to make it more accessible, friendly to small-scale farmers, providing cold storage facilities and buyback and minimum price support schemes for selected crops and livestock products, as well as crop insurance. Okay. Then these are all how we tried to consolidate the results of the group discussions. We tried to get what could be done, what would be the recommended action points at the regional level. So we divided it into four categories, the action points. One is on enabling policy. So these are the points that we gathered. Please note what we have missed. First is to make agriculture curriculum mandatory at all levels of education. This is something that we can do at the regional level. Easy access to financial institutions. Sustainable food policy, right to food for SAARC, to ensure the right to food, to prevent hunger and deprivation, especially in times of emergencies. Also incorporate policies to support diversified food systems as a way to have sustainable food systems. And also joint monitoring of public policies with FOs to better adjust these policies to current and future challenges. The second chunk of action point is on capacity building and knowledge sharing. The SAC to convene a follow-through of the implementation of FSS commitments and sharing sessions on how the FSS commitments are being implemented at the country level. And then a sharing session on appropriate technologies to promote sustainable, inclusive, resilient food systems, as well as capacity building and knowledge sharing on contract farming systems and backward forward linkages for farming. Third, on the third chunk of action points on networking and alliance building. So one is we could energize existing regional platforms of agri-research institutions. And second is there is a coalition on agroecology at the global level. So to invite more member states and other stakeholders to join. And in this coalition on agroecology, to have a South Asia cluster where we can organize those who are members in South Asia for more networking, sharing sessions, and alliance building at the South Asia level. And fourth is on regional collaboration as within or under the SAARC, institution. First is the sharing of germplasm. The second is a TV channel for South Asia agriculture. Maybe this is the channel to communicate all the practices, all the policies, all the knowledge that is being shared during the events that the SAARC is undertaking. The third is part of networking is the South Asian Network of Research Institutions and Academe to work on the thematics, all the themes up here, like, for example, right to food or agri-education or appropriate technology or contract farming, like that. The fourth is to revitalize the SAARC food bank. And the fifth is to expand ICT at all levels. So these are bullet points, and hopefully at the second draft of this, we will be able to expound more based on what you have shared during the group discussion. Okay, and we will put here also in the draft, in the joint communique, who are the important stakeholders, and the stakeholders that have been identified are farmers' organizations, including commodity-based platforms, government organizations, both at the national level, planning commissions, and LGUs. We can put here LGUs, if local government units, funding agencies, intergovernmental organizations, local government units, if you want to be very particular about them, though we can put them part of the government organizations also, food tech institutions, okay, research institutions, especially the NARS and the CG system, as well as the private sector, including cooperatives. Okay. So as a conclusion, we could look at the three main takeaways that we would like to stress in the conclusion, and there is a suggestion to stress these three things, that we will undertake regional initiatives on food sovereignty policies and practices, and that will include enacting policies or sharing about the various programs and practices that we do to promote food sovereignty and the right to food. And the second is to have vibrant regional networks of farming for food groups, mainly something like this, on networking and regional collaboration. And the third key takeaway is the promotion of agroecological and nature-based solutions to climate change and sustainable food systems. So that is what we have gathered so far. I know it is difficult to comment if you do not have the draft with you. So can I ask Pierre to, I can send the link here in the chat for you, if it will be easier for you to download it so that you could have some time to comment. Meanwhile, Irish, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Esther, for sharing the first draft of the joint communique that will be further strengthened and enhanced after this session. So as mentioned, we will be asking responses from our respective guests and partners, and of course representatives from the member states who are here in this room with us. And while, okay, I can see that the document has already been posted in the chat, so feel free. I'll give you a few seconds to download the document. So there are, I think, there are 4 key areas of action that were recommended, that is being recommended by the whole group, and that would be policy level, capacity building and knowledge sharing, and networking, alliance building, and regional collaboration. And again, all these will contribute to building a more sustainable, more healthy food systems in the region. Okay, so I hope you were able to download the document. So I would like to call on, if you have the program, we actually listed partners and the member states in the following order. We would like to hear from ICA. I don't know if there is someone from INOFO, but yeah, I don't see anyone from Inofo, but we would like to call on our partner from ICA, and then followed by the representative of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. So I would like first to call on Mohit Dave from ICA to give his response or remarks on what was just shared and presented.
Thank you so much, Irish, for the opportunity. Thanks again to all the organizers for having ICA AP as part of this very important and timely consultation meeting. I have a short remark on behalf of the regional office here from India. As they have said, the cooperatives in food systems were indeed born out of this desire to empower producers and consumers, as well as to shorten supply chains by eliminating the unnecessary intermediaries. Also, throughout their history, cooperatives have been important players in the food systems, using a values-based and people-centered business model. As you know, there's a cooperative identity statement which has 7 principles and several values enshrined in this statement. All of this actually promote in many ways the sustainable production and ethical consumption model. Cooperatives are also involved in all stages of food chains and production, processing, consumption, and otherwise, even in marketing, and also on all related economic sectors in food systems around South Asia, especially. So on this occasion of this consultation, the ICA AP urges the SAARC member states and the international organizations to recognize the fundamental role that cooperatives play in improving the functioning of global food systems, especially in the regional context as well, to also include cooperatives as a partner in the regional effort to build a more sustainable food system, and of course to consider collaborating closely with cooperatives and cooperative organizations, federations, member organizations in implementing the outcomes of this consultation. Again, I take this opportunity to thank you all for this wonderful meeting, and we will also go through the outcomes, the joint communique, and probably come back to you if we have any specific comments or suggestions to make. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohit, for confirming the commitment of the cooperative movement to support the actions that were mentioned. And yeah, sorry, let me just mute those who are not yet muted. So thank you again, Mohit, and we have noted down your recommendation to also highlight cooperative as a vehicle and platform. So next, we would like to call on Dr. Feroj. Yeah, I think Dr. Feroj is here. Mr. Feroj Al Mahood, the Research Director of Food Planning and Monitoring Unit, Ministry of Food from Bangladesh.
Yes, thank you very much. The whole discussion was very, very good. Yesterday's presentation and today's discussion is very important. One thing is that Bangladesh is actually working for the UN Food System Summit, the commitment to pathway, and the pathway document we produced, and we are working on that. Yesterday we had a meeting with the development partners, David Navarone and Haddad was with Selim Al Haq was present there. We have a lot of commitments and policy actions. We have identified what are the actions should be taken in every action areas. You know that, and there is 5 action areas, and every action areas we have set the actions, what actions should be taken. And we have identified the responsible stakeholders and ministries who will do what actions. And these ministries, we have already organized a couple of workshops with the ministries so that ministry can take their responsibility and work for the pathway documents, commitments. And you know that our Prime Minister also joined the UN Food System Summit, and he made 5 asks. And there is important is the research in the agricultural sector, particularly the resilient food system for the climate resilient food system is very important for our people. And the poor and marginal farmer is the concern, and we are very much on the implementation stage to actually improved agriculture and the technology development and innovation is our priority. We are working with that issues, and we are trying to scale up the small scale and medium scale farmers. Actually, we need to give more support them. Financial support is very important, and marketing infrastructure with market communication is our priority agenda. We are working with that, and we are working for the training and capacity development of the farmers group formation and cooperative marketing. These are very important, and also we are giving importance on the agricultural input, its quality, pesticide use, efficient use of the surface water for agriculture. These are the most important steps we are taking. I think our sharing of knowledge and our sharing of work will actually enhance our agriculture and food security of this region. And I would like to thank the organizer to give me the chance to speak something here. And I think we can proceed, and we can have a common goal to achieve with working with each other. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ferroj Al Mahmoud, for also reaffirming and supporting strongly what has already been written in the document, which is well aligned also with what you have presented also yesterday, written in the national pathway. Thank you for that from Bangladesh. Now we can move on to the representative from Bhutan. I don't see Mr. Karma Charing here, but I can see one. Okay, I can see one representative from the Ministry of Agriculture from Bhutan. You can have the floor.
Thank you, Irish. Thank you for the opportunity, and I would also like to extend our appreciation and gratitude to the organizers, the FAO, the SAC, SAC, and the EFA for this wonderful opportunity, bringing us together, sharing experiences and knowledges to come up with this joint communique. While we fully endorse and support the joint communique, I would just like to draw our attention to making the food system in a way that food is accessible to all, especially people who are in the lower echelons of the society. From what I have observed during the repeated lockdowns that we had with the COVID pandemic and the disruptions that has caused, it is the people in the lower income group who are really affected. Not in that case, the rural farmers, small family farmers tend to do much better, whereas the urban poor who are kind of based on daily wage basis and lower income, you know, and when they have no income or very less income, they tend to focus on filling their belly, and that is they just concentrate on the high carbohydrate diet, and then there is no intake of protein, and that is what really has detrimental impacts on the growth and development of their children and the youth. So therefore, I think the governments in the region and our development partners and other associated organizations should give due attention and focus to that. So with that, I would once again thank the organizers and the partners and sort of I mean really endorse the communique, and as Mohit Jasarle mentioned, we'll go through that, and if there are as we say, devils in the details. So if there are, I mean, improvements that need to go into the details, we will sort of provide our contributions to that. Thank you very much, Iris.
Yeah, thank you so much for that remark, and also for asserting or communicating your support to what has been presented. Thank you. And next, we would like to call on a representative from India. So I can see that we have a representative from ICAR. Would you like to make a response? Or any representative from the government is welcome to also take the floor. Okay, if we can go back to India, we can move on to Maldives. I think we do have here Mr. Ali Amir from the Ministry of Fisheries, Marine Resources and Agriculture. You have the floor.
Thank you. I would like to extend my gratitude to AFA, FAO, and SAC Agriculture Center to organize this very timely consultation meeting. We are at the very early stage of implementing the commitments that we have come up on the last FAO conference, last food summit last year. And I believe this is a very crucial time that you have organized this consultation meeting. From yesterday's presentations, we have heard from the food system of the different countries in the region. They are very different to each other, yet there are so many areas where the regional cooperation could come in place, and we have discussed those in very detail in the breakout groups as well. And from the joint communique, I do see most of those points that are discussed in the group out sessions is already there. And I think we should go through this communique again, and if there is something missing, I'm pretty sure that everyone will collaborate and make this communique a very good document. And I'm pretty sure that from our side, we will give our best to make this communique a bit better. And with that, I would like to conclude our remark. And again, I would like to thank SAC, FAO, and AFA for organizing this very important consultation meeting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Amir, for that very reassuring remarks. So yes, we will share the document after. We can now proceed to to Nepal. Let's hear from Ms. Sabnam, who also presented yesterday. I think I saw that she is currently in the room. So you have the floor.
Thank you. And good afternoon, all of you once again. Firstly, I'm very thankful to SAARC Agriculture Center and FAO for inviting me to this meeting, and also getting this platform to hear the experience of different countries, how they are moving forward with the commitments. And in case of Nepal, as also presented during the presentation sessions, following the summit, we have identified the short-term actions for 3 years, and National Planning Commission is coordinating to formulate, because we are now in the state of formulating budget and program for the next fiscal year. So this is very good time for us, to what have been absorbed during the sessions from different presentations. We can take some of those messages in our planning process itself and put it in our program and policies. Because Nepal has already been emphasizing on food and nutrition security, mostly from the perspective of food sufficiency, nutrition sensitive agriculture, food-based nutrition, and also on the safety issues. And there have been already a couple of policies that talks about, in the food system approach itself. But we have realized that we need to work more to bring different value chain actors into the process, so that we're able to achieve and sustain the achievements in the long run. So in that sense, I've taken good messages from a couple of the presentations from the countries and also from the CSO they presented, and that's a good learning for us also, because it's always a question when we talk about the small farmers, that whether we can sustain, the country can be food sufficient, or the country can sustain its production through the engagement of small farmers only. And then there is always a contradiction between the commercial farmers and small farmers. But during this presentation, we have realized that because as our country or the South Asian region, they have mostly smallholders, and family farming is in the center. So we cannot progress without taking them into the consideration. And what we need to focus on is how we can enhance their capacity, how we can increase their access to the resources, so that these farms are more sustainable, more resilient, and also key in the production process. So this is the take-home message I've taken, and definitely as part of the next action, Ministry will be engaging in understanding the policy coherence among various existing policies, because now since we have a 3-tier of the government between the province and local government also, so we also need to align the national policy and the national commitments along with these provincial and local commitments. So we'll try to align them together in our upcoming discussions and dialogues. So with that, I would like to, and also because now we are in the election, nearing the election for the next 10 years. So there is in a month or so, we have a planning, we have election for the local level government, and then subsequently for the province and government. So there will be now in next few months, we'll have a new government in place at all levels. So we need to keep this, engagement and the dialogue with the new governments, and also to inform them, to aware them, and also to so that they also put the equal emphasis on this sector. So and this is very good for us, and we will keep engaging the other sector of the government and also the private sector and the CSOs in place. So with that, I also the joint communique that you have sent, most of because that was very quick reading, and then of course many of the propositions there we definitely agree, and if there is some inputs, then we'll definitely provide our input in the document. And with this, I would like to thank all of you here for this meeting and for this very insightful discussion. Thank you.
You are
You're
muted.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. So yeah, thank you, Ms. Sabnam Ariel, the Joint Secretary of Food Security and Food Technology Division. And thank you for that message of solidarity and also recognizing the key role of smallholder family farmers. So
and all the best to the elections in Nepal.
yes. So thank you once again. I don't see any representative from Pakistan at the moment, but let me know if we do have a representative from the Pakistan Agriculture Research Council, but we can move on to Sri Lanka. I would like to call on Mr. Roshan, the Deputy Director of the Department of Agriculture. You have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And first of all, I want to thank the organizers for a great workshop we had for 2 days. And for that, I want to thank OFAS, SAC Agriculture Center, FAO, and all the partner countries actively participated in the workshop discussions. So the document, the joint communique, I think it has grabbed every important point we have discussed within these 2 days. So we agree for the most of the points included in the document, and we wish to go through the document and send our suggestions yes, suggestions if we'll go through the document. And of course, we know we had the Food System Summit last year, and the member states, we all have our pathway documents. And it was nice to hear from the member states yesterday, the presentations. So what I have seen, we all have a good action plan to be achieved within next 10 years by 2030. So as the post Food System Summit dialogues, I think we should have a action plan which is going to be implemented. So I would like to propose that the action plans we are having in each country, we should have a joint action plan, maybe how we are going to proceed within next 10 years. And we should have frequent communications within the countries, because we all have the similar issues in our countries. In achieving these, in facing these challenges, I think if we act jointly, we could achieve much, because we know there are much more simple technologies we are using, low-cost technologies we are having in each country, so we can share all these technologies among ourselves. And even I mentioned yesterday also now. In our pathway document, we have emphasized the importance of agri-food value chains as well as actions on reduction of post-harvest losses. I think it is already produced, fruits and vegetables especially. So we should not waste it. So we should use some of the technologies in each country to reduce these issues we are having, especially in after production, post-production. Because it's wasting these it's not we should not do that, because it's in Sri Lanka it's nearly 40%. That's about that's what I want to mention, and wish to thank you again for giving us this opportunity, and wish to send our comments for the document through email. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Roshan, for that message and response. So for anyone who wanted to make a comment or who want to add ideas, we can open the floor for a few more minutes before we move on to the next session. So if you wish to respond to the document that was presented, feel free to raise your hand. I'll give a few seconds for those who are trying to look for the raise hand button, or you can also leave a message in chat. Okay, so I don't see any hand raised and I don't see any message in chat. So before we move on to the next session, Ms. Esther, would you like to have a comment on the ways forward for the joint communique? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Irish. Thank you very much for all your comments and for your affirmative response, no, in terms of saying that much of the results of the meeting that we had for the past 2 days, especially the key messages and the key results of the breakout discussions are there. And thank you for the commitment to also review the document further so that we could come up with a really very good and tight joint communique. So for the ways forward, so this will be draft 1. We will have a draft 2. The co-organizers will work on the draft 2 based on your comments. And this draft 2 will be disseminated to you by email, and we will give you a week. 1 week is enough to give you time. 1 week to give you time to review the draft 2 of the document, the draft 2 of the joint communique. So 1 week, and then after that, the co-organizers come back again and finalize the joint communique, and the final version will be sent to the SAARC Secretariat through the SAARC Agriculture Center for the endorsement of the SAARC leaders. So we hope that we could have a joint communique final version within the month. So please stay tuned, and we will check your email regularly for this. Thank you very much. Back to you, Irish.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Esther, for that. And finally, I think we are ready to move on to the concluding session. So I would like to give the floor to Dr. Ganga for the closing session.
Thank you, Irish. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Ganga, Senior Program Specialist at SAARC Agriculture Center in Dhaka. As Iris already mentioned, that we are now coming towards the conclusion of this 2 days long, very hectic consultation meeting. Actually, yesterday it was really a hectic one, and I am privileged to moderate this session in this afternoon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 honorable speakers in this session to deliver their closing remarks. On the very outset, I hope that our respected speakers will make their remarks within the stipulated time frame. Well, without any delay, I welcome our first speaker in this session, Mr. Jamaluddin Ahmad, the Director, Agriculture and Rural Development, and also the SAARC Development Fund in SAARC Secretariat, Kathmandu. Mr. Jamal, the floor is for you now.
Dr. MD Bakhtiar Hussain, Director, SAARC Agriculture Center. Ms. Saraswati Suba, Women Farmers Committee, Asian Farmers Association. Mr. Sridhar Dharmapuri, Agriculture and Food Systems Stream Leader, Senior Food Safety and Nutrition Officer, FAO Regional Office for Asia and Pacific. Monsieur PFAO, FAO Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. Ms. Esther Pedunia, AFA Secretary General, Philippines. Senior officials of the SAARC Agriculture Center, government focal points, experts, professionals, leaders of farmers organization, distinguished dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my honor and privilege to address the concluding session of the regional consultation meeting promoting healthy, sustainable, and inclusive food systems in response to COVID-19 in South Asia. I must thank the organizer and co-organizers for holding this consultation as a follow-up on the Food System Summit held in New York in September 2021. This is indeed a very timely event to build awareness as well as to look for means to cope up with the adversaries posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly to ensure food security. Distinguished participants, with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is undergoing an unprecedented health and socioeconomic crisis. The member states of SAARC, comprising mostly low-income or lower middle-income economies, have been severely affected by the pandemic, threatening lives and livelihoods of millions of people. As a result, the social and economic gains achieved by the countries in the region over the past few decades have begun to recede, while challenges to recovery are becoming ever daunting. Distinguished guests, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, SAARC's efforts have been geared towards protecting livelihoods of our people and ensuring their food security, making the best use of SAARC process, particularly the SAARC Agriculture Center. Our agriculture sector has already been challenged with many adversaries like shrinking arable lands, vulnerability to climate change, natural disaster, degradation of natural resources, animal diseases, urbanization, and so on and so forth. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has compounded our adversaries. The agricultural sector is facing challenges of rising input costs coupled with market and price uncertainties. Distinguished audience, better food system is critical to build a future with improved health, equality, and peace that would create a world with rich biodiversity and systems. The lockdowns and disruptions triggered by the efforts to contain COVID-19 have shown the fragility of people's access to essential goods and services. Therefore, the current food system needs to be transformed to provide a more sustainable, fair, and inclusive access to healthy and nutritious food for people. To face these challenges, the countries in the region need knowledge-intensive transformational change in agriculture that combines progresses made in science and agricultural engineering with the region's unique traditional knowledge to make agriculture more sustainable. Distinguished guests, the unprecedented challenges posed by the pandemic warrant collective actions at national, regional, and sub-regional levels. In this context, we greatly value the convening of this consultation, bringing together experts and policymakers from the South Asia region to discuss collaborative measures to build back better from the adverse socioeconomic impacts the pandemic has had on us. Distinguished audience, I hope this meeting's recommendations would be very useful to the researchers, academicians, policymakers, development partners for sustainable agriculture and access to nutritious food for people in SAARC region in order to achieve the targets of SDGs. I acknowledge contribution of all national focal points, present speakers, representatives from farmers organizations, and scientists to this consultation. I will conclude expressing my hope that outcome of this consultation will have long-lasting resonance and will contribute immensely to the global efforts for coping up with adversaries of the pandemic. I thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Jamal, for your articulative deliberation. Now I invite our second speaker for this session, Ms. Saraswati Subba. Ms. Subba is the chairperson of Women Farmers Committee, and also she represents Asian Farmers Association to deliver her closing remarks. Ms. Subba.
Okay, may I one information?
Yeah.
Okay, she will speak in Nepali. If you have a time, may you translate, or what can I do on it?
I want to ask Esther, how can we arrange this type of arrangement, Esther?
If possible, you may translate on it.
Yeah, of course. I can translate for her. No problem.
Okay. Please ask to Esther.
Hello, because you would like to.
I can translate for her, Esther, if she likes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Saraswati can speak, but she will speak first, and then you will translate. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Would you like Saraswati to speak per paragraph, then you translate, and then paragraph again, then you translate? So it's so that the translation is not lost very quickly. Okay. So Prem,
Okay,
Because
I will share the our speech in screen.
Okay.
So that you will able to translate on it.
Okay.
Okay. Saraswati, may start now.
She's muted.
She has already started.
Saraswati, you're muted. Prem, Saraswati is muted. And would you like to share screen? Because if you would like to share screen, Prem, you could share screen. You are able to share screen.
You are muted. Yeah, still says.
Irish, is it possible to put the translation function there? And if that's possible, then we could move with the next speaker and then come back again to Saraswati, so we could arrange for the translation. So it will be easy also for Prem. Is that okay? Irish, can you help Prem with the translation? We have interpretation channel. They can use the Bengali one. Okay.
Okay.
So, Dr. Ganga, we can proceed to the next speaker, then we go back to Saraswati.
All right. Then I would like to invite Mr. Sridhar Dharmapuri, Agriculture and Food Systems Stream Leader in FAO Regional Office, Bangkok, to deliver his closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Ganga. And first of all, let me compliment all the organizers of this meeting and all the speakers who delivered their presentations yesterday and today and gave us a lot of food for thought on moving forward with agri-food systems transformation. So I will only cover a few points in the closing remarks today, because there has been a lot of information and knowledge that has been shared and that needs to be processed. Further, as countries in the region begin to work further on detailing their pathways to agri-food system transformation. The pathways that were developed last year in the run-up to the UN Food Systems Summit in September were, of course, much more basic, and they need a lot more work, particularly in relation to getting in more scientific and technical analysis into the discussion, so that the actions that follow are concrete, science-based, evidence-based, and at the same time participatory. And this, the workshop that you organized over the last 2 days is very much a step in that direction. So some of the new developments that are happening right now, which you already might be aware of course, is that the UN Food Systems Secretariat that was set up to support the summit is now being phased out, and the coordination hub led by FAO is now going to take over, in fact, from day after tomorrow, from the 1st of April. And this coordination hub has a very important role, which is to align all the existing United Nations functions, capacities, and structures to leverage the broad range of the assets that the UN system has. It particularly will emphasize country action. It will use SDG reporting to demonstrate progress on food system transformation. And it will act as a catalyst for food system transformation in the region, or in all the regions, of course, but definitely in the Asia Pacific region too. And it will oversee a stakeholder advisory group to support national progress on the SDGs in response to country priorities. And here's where all the organizations who are present here today have a very important role to play, because you're the organizations who are on the ground, you're working with smallholders, family farmers, and with all the value chain actors who play a very important role in food systems, and will therefore also do the same during the transformation process. The other, one of the other things which I just wanted to highlight, we recently had the Asia Pacific Regional Conference, which is the conference of all our member countries in the Asia Pacific region. There are 45 of them, and we had the conference in Dhaka just about 3 weeks ago, and with the fantastic support from the government of Bangladesh in organizing that conference. And some of the key things that came out there were the buy-in into the issues of bringing in innovation science and into food system transformation with an emphasis on traditional knowledge and practices, and not only on digitalization. So going beyond all the knowledge and digitalization that we have, to bring in traditional practices, traditional knowledge, the information from indigenous food systems, to look at how some of the old practices could be brought back. So all these were discussed and also in the context of achieving resilience in a time of climate change. So all these were discussed and subscribed to by all the members. So again, these are areas where all your organizations can contribute very heavily. Finally, of course, we have all our flagship programs which actually contribute very much to this end. We have, apart from the science and innovation strategy I mentioned, we have the strategy, we have programs on digitalization through the Digital Villages initiative of partnership with civil society, private sector, and international financial institutions through the hand-in-hand initiative, and encouraging agriculture diversification and specialization through the One Country, One Product initiative. And finally, before I close, I just wanted to inform all of you of an interesting event that we plan to organize later in the year, probably towards the end of September or October. We will be organizing an Asia Pacific Symposium on Agri-Food Systems Transformation. This will be an event which aims to bring together all the key stakeholders in the transformation process in a 2-day or probably a little more than 2-day event, where we will discuss a lot more detail of the technical issues which surround and which need further work in agri-food system transformation. We'll of course have a high-level attendance, including ministers at the event, but the key outputs here will be on some of the technical aspects that we need to look at. So with that piece of information, let me close my remarks, and I once again thank all of you for inviting us to speak here and for moderating an excellent 2-day workshop. Back to you, Dr. Ganga.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sridhar, for your nice remarks on this closing session. Now, I would like to invite once again Saraswati Subba, whether she is ready or not.
कोभिड महामारी प्रतिकारी सन्दर्भमा दिगो स्वास्थ्य समावेशी खाद्य प्रणाली सम्बन्धी 2 दिनको छलफल कार्यक्रममा यो अवसर प्रदान गर्नुभएकोमा संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघीय खाद्य तथा कृषि संगठन, एसियाली किसान संगठन आफालाई हार्दिक आभार सहित धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्छु। हिजो र आज एसिया क्षेत्रको दिगो खाद्य प्रणालीमा पारिवारिक साना महिला किसानको सवाल क्षेत्रीय तहमा भएका प्रयासहरू, साझा चुनौती र अवसरहरू सहित अवलम्बन गर्नुपर्ने रणनीतिको बारेमा पर्याप्त र गहिरो छलफल भएको छ। विभिन्न देशहरूबाट यस विषयमा
मैले ट्रान्सलेट गरौँ,
म यति भनिसक्छु अनि ट्रान्सलेट गरौँ सर है। विभिन्न देशबाट यस विषयमा सरकारले गरेका प्रतिबद्धता र प्रयासहरूको बारेमा धेरै प्रस्तुतिहरू भए। महत्त्वपूर्ण प्रस्तुतिका लागि सबैलाई हार्दिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। खुल्ला छलफलमा महत्त्वपूर्ण विचार र सुझावका लागि समेत सबैलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। सरले ट्रान्सलेट गर्नुभयो हुन्छ।
Yes, it's amidst COVID pandemic and then climate change challenges. What we are facing now, amid that type of challenges, this sort of program that brought out the voices of the marginalized people and then family farmers is a very great opportunity for us. And then the roadmap that the countries presented and several experts who presented their ideas has greatly benefited us. And then I'm really thankful to Asia Farmers Association and the FAO as well as the organizing all organizations. That is what she want to deliver in this section. Okay, go ahead.
कोभिड महामारीले दिगो खाद्य प्रणाली र
You are muted, Saraswati.
कोभिड महामारीले दिगो खाद्य प्रणाली र त्यसको उत्पादन शक्ति पारिवारिक साना र महिला किसानहरूलाई मर्का पारेको नै छ। साथै कृषिमा युवाहरूको आकर्षण र बाँझो जमिन उपयोगको नयाँ अवसर समेत खोलेको छ। यसले पारिवारिक खेती, दिगो खाद्य प्रणाली र युवा साना महिला र भूमिहीन किसानहरूको सहभागितालाई बढाउन प्रेरणा दिएको छ। सरले ट्रान्सलेट गर्नुभयो हुन्छ सर?
COVID-19 pandemic has definitely posed threats to the food security of marginal and small farmers, but at the same time, it has opened up certain opportunity to bring the fallow land into use. Particularly, probably she is referring to Nepalese context, where most of the rural youths, they are not attracted towards the farming, so that they left the cultivable land fallow in particularly in the hills of Nepal. She is talking about these things that due to this this type of program, we can make certain this type of workshops. It gives us the certain way out to bring that type of opportunity in favor of the poor and marginalized, as well as in favor of women and then the excluded groups.
हस्, हामी सबैलाई थाहा छ कि हामी एसियाका 65% मानिसहरू गाउँमा बस्छौं। 50% व्यक्तिहरूको जीविकोपार्जनको आधार भनेको चाहिँ कृषि हो। कृषि उत्पादनमा प्रयोग गर्ने अधिकांश शक्ति साना महिला र भूमिहीन किसान तथा कृषि श्रमिकहरू हुन्। यो क्षेत्रको ठूलो जनसंख्यालाई स्वस्थ राख्ने, खाद्यान्न उपलब्ध गराउने जनसंख्या पनि यही हो। दुःखद यो छ कि उत्पादनको स्रोत भूमि, वन जंगल, पानी जस्ता साधनहरूमा पहुँच र स्वामित्वको कमी छ। यसले हाम्रो सरकारी सेवाटेवा, वित्तीय पहुँच, बजारको पहुँच, प्रविधिको पहुँच र क्षतिपूर्तिको पहुँचबाट टाढा राख्छौं। फलस्वरूप हामीहरूले जीवन र जीविका सहज हुन सकेको छैन। अझ जलवायु परिवर्तनको चर्को मारमा पर्ने समूह पनि हामी महिला, साना किसान र भूमिहीन नै हौं।
Yes. In Asia, 65% of the people are the rural, and 50% of them draw their livelihoods from farming. But the small farmers, women, and then landless wage workers are the one. They make up the majority of the farming population in rural Asia, and it is unfortunate that they do not have adequate access to the services as well as to the productive resources. That's why they are bearing double burden of climate change also, and then they are excluded from the fundamental resources. That is where we have to think of in our future plans.
संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघले सेप्टेम्बरमा सम्पन्न गरेको दिगो खाद्य प्रणाली सम्बन्धी विश्व सम्मेलनमा एसियाका राष्ट्रहरूले विभिन्न प्रतिबद्धताहरू व्यक्त गरेका छन्, तर मूलतः चुनौती भनेको तिनीहरूको कार्यान्वयन हो। यसका लागि सरकार, किसान संगठन र साझेदार निकायहरूको बलियो पहल हुनुपर्नेछ। यसका लागि हाम्रो साझा प्रतिबद्धता, साझा रणनीति, साझा वकालत जरुरी छ। यो 2 दिनको बसाइमा हामीले एसियाको क्षेत्रमा यो सवालमा साझा सवाल, कार्ययोजना, रणनीति र साझा चुनौती पहिचान गरेका छौं। यसको कार्यान्वयनका लागि हामी बीच बलियो साझेदारी र किसान संगठनहरूको बलियो क्षमता हुन जरुरी छ। हामीलाई यो बसाइले धेरै अन्तर्दृष्टान्त, सिकाइ र उत्तम विकल्पहरू दिएको छ। यसलाई अवलम्बन गर्न जरुरी छ। यसले दिगो खाद्य प्रणालीको सबलीकरण मात्र नगरी भूमिहीन र साना किसान हरूको रूपान्तरण गर्दै दिगो विकास लक्ष्यले तोकेको भोकमरी र गरिबीको अन्त्य र समावेशी विकासलाई योगदान गर्नेछ।
Yes, the countries have committed very, they have presented very good commitments in the food system summits that was held in last September. But the issue is how that type of commitments are reflected in the practice. Actually, we are facing serious challenges in the implementation level. So from this workshop, we have identified the certain issues that challenges and then the issues. That is very good thing. And then there are, we have identified the relevant stakeholders also. And all the stakeholders, if we are really work on together in collaboration, then that type of commitments can be implemented in the favor of poor and the marginalized.
नेपालको सन्दर्भमा राष्ट्रिय भूमि अधिकार मञ्च नेपालले 2 दशकदेखि भूमिहीन साना महिला किसानहरूको अधिकारका लागि राष्ट्रिय प्रदेश र स्थानीय तहमा वकालत र सहजीकरण गरिरहेको छ। भूमिमा महिलाको स्वामित्व बढाउन संयुक्त पूर्जा अभियान चलाइरहेको छ। संघीय सरकार र सम्बन्धित मन्त्रालयसँग निरन्तर वकालत गरिरहेको छ भने स्थानीय सरकारसँग भूमि व्यवस्थापन भूप्रयोग कार्यान्वयनमा सहजीकरण गरिरहेको छ। यसले गर्दा नेपाल सरकारले भूमि अधिकार र भूमि अधिकारको क्षेत्रमा धेरै सकारात्मक नीति तथा कार्यक्रमहरू कार्यान्वयन गरेको छ। साथै दिगो खाद्य प्रणाली कार्यान्वयनमा सरकारको प्रतिबद्धता सहयोग पुर्याउन राष्ट्रिय योजना आयोगको आयोजनामा लक्ष्य सहितको प्रतिबद्धता व्यक्त गरिएको छ। आफाको महिला किसान समितिमा समेत हामी एसिया क्षेत्रमा प्रगति र चुनौतीको समीक्षा गरिरहेका छौं, सिकाइ बढाइरहेका छौं। हुन्छ, अगाडि बढौं सर।
When we talk about the Nepalese context, we have a National Land Rights Forum of the landless people and small and marginal farmers. They are the members of this forum, and then we are working to sensitize and then sensitize the local landless communities, as well as we are doing the policy advocacy works at national level. And then we are really working very closely with the government also, so that we have even included some of our issues in our national policies and programs as well, so that we are committed to bring all these issues during in the process of this food system transformation in Nepal.
अन्तमा यो महत्त्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रममा सार्थक सहभागिता र योगदानका लागि सबैलाई हार्दिक धन्यवाद सहित छलफलका निष्कर्षहरू कार्यान्वयनमा आउन र हामी बीच बलियो यो कार्यक्रम समापन भएको पनि अब मैले जे कुराहरू राखे यसको लागि अन्त्य भएको घोषणा गर्छु। खास गरी अब ट्रान्सलेटको लागि म गंगा सरलाई पनि धन्यवाद दिन्छु र अल पार्टिसिपेन्टलाई यो आफाको महिला कमिटीको तर्फबाट र नेपालको तर्फबाट राष्ट्रिय भूमि अधिकार मञ्चको नेपालको तर्फबाट हार्दिक धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्छु।
At last, thank you so much for all the participants of this workshop, and then whatever we have learned, we are committed to bring it into the practice. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Saraswati Subba. Now we are coming to really at the end. Finally, I would like to invite Dr. Mohammad Bakhtar Hussain, Director, SARC Agriculture Center, to deliver his closing remarks, along with the vote of thanks to all participants, speakers, guests, and the organizing committee members. Dr. Bakhtar.
Thank you, Dr. Ganga. Mr. Jamaluddin Ahmed, Director, ARD and SDF, SARC Secretariat, Kathmandu. Ms. Saraswati Subba, Chairman, Women Farmers Committee, Asian Farmers Association. Dr. Sridhar Dharmapuri, Senior Food Safety and Nutrition Officer, FAO Regional Office for the Asia and the Pacific. distinguished speaker and participants, government officials, food system experts, professionals, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I thank and congratulate the organizers for successfully holding of this crucial and timely event on promoting healthy, sustainable, and inclusive food systems response to COVID-19 in South Asia. We are almost grateful to all the speaker and meeting participants on this stage. We thank you for being with us in last 2 days. It's been a great pleasure for us. It was a great opportunity for all of us to know about the efforts made by respective government of the SAARC member states and other stakeholders in the region to tackle the challenges of food and agriculture systems posed by climate change and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Definitely, we became benefited from the insightful deliberation of food system experts and other speakers during this meeting. I'm happy to know that the South Asian stakeholders are moving forward to transforming food and agricultural system as committed during the Food System Summit held in September last year amidst the mounting challenges of COVID-19 pandemic and climate emergencies. We learned from the speaker and participants that both the government agencies and non-state actors, particularly the external development partners, farmers organizations and NGOs in the South Asia region are on the same page to drive the transformation process towards inclusive, sustainable and resilient food and agriculture system. It is great to see that each member states have developed clear pathways of food system transformation and all relevant stakeholders are contributing to the same pathway. SAARC Agriculture Center as an intergovernmental regional initiative will consistently follow up the member states' renewed commitments of food systems transformation as reflected in the joint communique just read out in the days to come. In this connection, I hope we'll be able to hold another event with the physical presence of all relevant stakeholders later this year, particularly focusing on preparing specific milestone of the food system transformation processes for individual member states. Ladies and gentlemen, well, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues behind this event. I especially want to give big thanks to the following colleagues for their tireless efforts to make this event a successful. Mr. Perry from FAO Bangkok, Dr. Ganga and Dr. Yunus from SAARC Agriculture Center, Dhaka, Ms. Iris, Ms. Esther, and Mr. Amirul from Asian Farmers Association. Asian Farmer Association deserve special thanks for organizing virtual setup for the meeting as well as for live streaming the event functioning in YouTube channel. And with this, I would like to conclude my remarks. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Over to Ganga.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bakhtiar, for your remarks. Now, I think we are almost finished this 2 days consultation meeting. I want to hand over the floor to Ferry for if you have any final remarks or other things, notice or anything else.
Thank you, Dr. Ganga. No, I think everything has been said in the closing remark, and I warmly thank all our distinguished speakers for their remarks. And unlike yesterday, actually today we have finished a little bit earlier, so people will be able to rest, because yesterday we had a good hour of the time. So thank you very much again for joining us over these last 2 days. As Esther mentioned earlier, we are going to refine the joint communique in a second version that will be circulated to all participants, and we expect your feedback in order to consolidate this communique that will be later on sent to the SARC Secretariat via the SARC Agricultural Center. And we will also follow up with you on some of the recommendations that were made. I think one that seems to have emerged from all the discussion is really how to use the different coalitions that have been launched during the Food System Summit, especially the one on agroecology, and to see how we can build upon what is being built already within this coalition to have a specific focus on South Asia. There are plenty of experience and knowledge that are available in the country, and we need to foster more exchanges between the countries and further disseminate this approach to transform the food system. So thank you very much, and I hope we can continue to collaborate and work together in the future.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
কোয়ালিশন নাম আছে 4 জনের আর ওখানে উপরে